Hey everyone, you're here with Mark Boutwell, Grow Coach here at PerfectGardens.com. Our mission every day is to help you grow while making decisions in line with our values. Got another great question today from one of our customers online. Let me just read you the question real quick. And now I need some expert grow advice from the best. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. We always do our best to improve through learning from you guys and the experiences you're going through, and do our best to share it. I am considering buying the CFL attachment to use for my seedlings instead of dimming the ballast down to 400. When the plants get a little bigger, I will then dim the ballast down to 400, then 600, then finally to 1,000 watts. So what is your experience advice on this plan? Okay, so there's a lot of different opinions people are going to have. My opinion, my approach to this is always growing the plant as efficient as possible and getting the best return on your investment. Okay, that's what I'm always looking for, and I know my numbers, so I know how much it costs for electricity, I know how much it costs per watt, and then I know what the plants need at various stages. So it's sometimes over the period of the last my experience in this industry, a lot of times people will think more is better, but that's really just not the case. It's really just providing what the plant needs to do its functions, and then slowly over time increasing it. But at a point in various stages, only really a little bit is all you need to do what it needs to do. And why spend the extra money if you don't need to? So let's go over the light selections though. First off, the light right behind me is a CFL light. There's many different types of CFLs on the market, but the majority of them look like this. They are great lights. They work wonderful in vegetative periods. They work wonderful over the years. Especially if you're using under 250 watts, these fixtures a lot of them can plug into. You can plug them directly into the sockets without any special ballast or wiring or anything along those lines. So these fixtures, for the size growing you're doing, is actually a great option. The CFLs, though, as you get bigger, they get very, very hot. So think about it like this. Think about it as the light bulb in your room, up in your fixture. Well, each of these little things is another light bulb. So a CFL is fluorescent lamp. So what it's saying, it's compressing all the light into one spot. And the problem with that is it generates an enormous amount of heat, and it creates focal points. So it puts a lot of heat directly down in one spot. For seedlings, when they're in the infantile stage, that could cause a problem, and over the years they can dry out, heat damage, light damage. I mean, you gotta really think of. I like to tell a lot of growers when I'm in the room, is to pull up your forearm and put your forearm under the light, and if it's uncomfortable for you, it's going to be uncomfortable for the plants. But when it's in infantile stage, when it becomes comfortable for you, you really gotta move the light down another 18 inches, because those seedlings just don't need a lot of light. Over the years, what I've really recommended for seedlings is to use the T5s. T5s are phenomenal because they actually spread the light over a distance. So these T5 fluorescents, they're 4 foot, they're 3 foot, 2 foot, and they're spreading that light intensity over that distance, so they don't get as hot. They don't build as much heat up in your room as fast. And those seedlings, you can keep these lights, depending upon how many you need. Seedlings, they really don't need a lot. You can get away with using a two bulb 2 bulb 2 foot 2 bulb 2 foot T5 fluorescents, and you could keep them as they seedlings all the way up to maybe 4 inches or so. If you want something that is going to, it really is going to last for a while. Also, HIDs too. A lot of people you like to use HIDs, 250s for vegging, and the same thing. It creates a lot of heat in the center, which causes problems later down the road. And also, again, these plants in vegetative state do not need a lot of light. A lot of people want to use big lamps, but 600 watts, 1,000 watts. But at the end of the day, for flowering, if for full flowering, 1,000 watt really you can't get past 4 by 4 square feet of space, and a 600 watt does 3 by 3 square feet of space. But for vegetative state, for good healthy vegetative state, you can pretty much double that, maybe even go a little bit more, and that's all the light the plant, that's all the light however many you can fit under that spacing. So if it's 600, if it's 1,000 watt, it would be an 8 by 8 instead of a 4 by 4. And 1,001, you can ask any grower. You go on the forums, ask a million people, forum this video and ask them, hey, can you justify or roughly agree with this gentleman's opinion, and they'll probably confirm it. So 1,000 watt for a vegetative state, 8 by 8, 9 by 9 square feet of space is all the plants need for good healthy plants, all the way up to about 2 feet. 2 feet, maybe 3 feet tall, and probably 3 feet is going to be stretching. That'll be the max. So when you take into consideration just a few seedlings that you're going to be doing, I'd really be looking for a small lamp. And also, if you're going to be using, if you want to use your 1,000 watt, or not 1,000 watt, but your dimmable ballast metal halide for vegging later, down over here. In the early stages, you get a compact fluorescent, maybe 100 watts. It's that would be the most you'd need if you're really adamant on compact fluorescents. But if you are willing to use a T5 fluorescent, then I'd get one of these fixtures over here. These fixtures, it's a 4-foot 6 bulb, and what I do over these, I use these for vegetative state, and I also, when I don't need as many of them, I just slightly unscrew them, so I'm only having two bulbs on, and then as the plants get a little bit bigger, I screw them back in, and I get 3 bulbs, and then 4 bulbs, and then as they go from little seedlings, and I transplant them to my 3-inch pots, or into my 1-gallon pots, and then onto my 3-gallon pots, or whatever I'm doing, that T5 light's capable of expanding out. And then the only bad thing about this is that these lights do give a specific 6,500 Kelvin light, and that is what the plants need, especially in indoor growing. When you do get the plants about 6 inches tall, 6 inches to a foot tall, I would recommend, especially if you want to grow them, veg them bigger, to get them under a metal halide, which here at Perfect Gardens we definitely offer that. And the reason why you're going to want to do that is because these metal halides, I'll show you right here, will actually have a better, they have a fuller spectrum. So they have a fuller spectrum. So the 6,500 Kelvin is more blue, and 2,700 Kelvin is a red. So directly in the summer, when the light is directly overhead, it's giving off a bluer light. But over in the winter time, when it's kind of at a horizon, the spectrum of the light that comes through our atmosphere gives an orange light. So it actually helps change the hormones that the plants are producing to get prepared to go into flowering and start flowering fully. So it's very important to have both of those spectrums while growing in veg and flowering, because those lights, those different types of color spectrums do different types of things for those plants. Over the years, I've really noticed in the beginning, a T5 is more than sufficient for seedlings and plants that are 6 foot to 1 foot tall, and you can go directly into flowering. But if you are looking to do like the highest quality, or you have a dimmable ballast that can go from 400 to 1000 watt, and you're willing to pay an extra, $50 for a metal highlight, that'll be good for years. I would start with a T5, jump over to a metal highlight for about 2 weeks to prepare them for that red spectrum, and then flip them over to HPS lights, which has a much more redder spectrum. And along those stages, of course, you're going to be wanting to always look out for a leaf, the leaf damage. The plants are always going to tell you whether you're giving too much light. They're going to be curling up. They're going to be a little bit not rigid. They'll be crispier. They will fan up if it's light intensity, and point directly upward from the sides. And the tips might just get a little crumbly as well. So those are all indications of low humidity and high intensity light, and just hitting those plants and damaging those leaves. Hope this video was helpful so you guys can make a decision on what types of lights you want to use and implement. I've used them all. I've used CFLs, I've used HPSs, metal highlights, plasmas, LEDs. I've used pretty much the majority of the brands on the market, and at the end of the day, just focus on the plant and what it looks like and the health of the plant, and you're going to get a good quality and a consistent yield with your lights. And that is about it. Have a great grow, guys.